Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's special edition of Beyond the Ordinary show. And y'all, I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I was traveling to Egypt and I shuffled some of the schedule around for BTO, and Meg happened to fall in the time frame when we were supposed to be live. But luckily, we got to reschedule for the special Monday time, which is really special for me because it's not the typical BTO shows and there's like an amplified energy in it. But what's also happening is, God, Meg was such a catalyst for me as I went into Egypt over the last couple of weeks, reminding me of something that wanted to activate information that I had access to. But it also took me into a place where I saw in group dynamics some of the shadow energy that was emerging through, I'd say within myself, within this big group dynamic that was huge. And there's something quite profound there and so beautiful that's leading into the healing of the shadow. And so we're going to talk about that. Meg's going to provide just her quantum awareness of these ebbs and flows that we're going through and what's landing within our system and how we're actually finding self-mastery. Opening to that in so many different ways that are, again, they're quantum. I don't think we could have quantified this 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago, Meg. There's just something that we have access to that we've opened up gateways to, and perhaps it's astrological, cosmic, everything else. But again, we'll get into it on today's call and so much more. And Meg has promised on her email that got sent out and on the on your social media post that we are going to take live calls, and I fully intend to. Last time with Meg, it was a full-blown activation, but I want to integrate some of y'all's energy on today's call as well, because I can feel the intelligence running through you as well. And it's going to be such a contribution for everybody collectively, whether you're listening live or on the replay. So we'll get into that. And Meg has a special offer that's brand new also, that's a tremendous facilitation of what we're experiencing and expanding into right now. So we'll get deeper into that as well. Meg, I'm not even going to do an intro with you. Just hi. Just thank you for being on, and thank you for being my first call after Egypt. Yeah.
Always such a joy to get in the field with you and everyone who's joining us. I can already start before we even get on Zoom. I can already start to feel the energy. I don't know if you feel it's like amping. I'm like, oh, here we go. Okay, we're starting to tune up here. It's like, woo, this is gonna be fun.
So let's dive into healing the shadow. What's Meg, you're like a champion of healing, of breaking through, of not allowing the denser energies to take over, or the archonic type of manipulation that has been possible for so long. And what's coming through with healing the shadow now for you that's different than what had been presented before?
Well, I'll have to say, I mean, when I started working on my own shadow, this is almost 30 years ago, and it was beautifully, holding my hand, Metatron guiding me through step by step, because I didn't even know what I was doing, right? So how do you work on your own shadow? So it was very loving and gentle, and just bringing in this is kind of the hidden self or the unconscious self. I say our shadow is basically anything that's not in conscious light. Okay, so that's like a whole bunch of stuff that's running in us we're not even aware of, right? We're unconscious of, and it can be from this life, it can be from past life. It is actually from both. It's this life and past lives, and it's all in the field, right? It's all in our bodies, it's all in our emotions. And so this is we call it shadow work, but it is a part of the ascension. There's 3 phases that I experienced in ascension. One is the original spiritual awakening, right, which is so exciting, and you begin to move beyond the limitations of just the ego, and you start to connect to spirit, and you start feeling that, oh my God, the energy is like, it's a big high there for a while, and right, but also what happens is then you have this higher awareness and you have more light coming in, and that's when you become aware there's a lot of unhealed energy inside, and that's what we call our shadow self. And So the second phase is this transmutation phase. This is where we do the shadow work. The third phase is then we begin the soul merge or the soul embodiment. And we have to work with loving compassion with the shadow, because in a way, think of it like you're making room inside here for the soul to merge in. So the more that you are working on transmuting your shadow, the faster you can begin to unite and embody your divine soul presence. So it's really up to us how fast we go. But to answer your question, since I started so long ago, the field 30 years ago, the field was so locked, right? It was very dense, very, the magnetic fields were really locked in, holding everything stuck. But since 2012, that has changed for us. And every year since 2012, it's called the quickening, right? It's getting faster and faster and easier and looser. Everything's loosening. The whole magnetic field is shifting and morphing. We're receiving a ton of plasma light coming in through all these solar flares and CMEs and solar waves. So our own planetary field is adjusting and making it easier for us to get in. And I'm seeing this now happening where people have like spontaneous clearings, things can really move because everything is being supported now, right, in ourselves and in the field, the planetary field, and in the universe, as you mentioned, even the astrology supporting it. So we're just getting a whole love bomb, from the galaxy to help us move faster through our healing. And so what may have taken me 20 years, because I was slugging away at this stuff and chipping away and peeling little layers off, it was like, oh my God, this is never going to end. Now you can really get in, and especially using this tool from Metatron, you can get in and really start to break loose, break free, transmute your shadow, heal the core wounds, clear the ancestral patterning and programming, and really start to embody. Because our goal is we want to start to, see through the eyes of the soul, radiate the soul essence, the soul love, and embody the soul blueprint, which is think of it like your roadmap for your destiny, for your purpose. And till we get the soul in, we aren't really operating much of that blueprint yet. So that's part of why this is such an important time right now to really do this work. And as you can see, if you look out into the world, I think the world is really in a healing crisis at this point. So it's not something we can ignore anymore. We've been through 2 years of more of a pandemic like this. We have climate change, like creating migration all over the world. Like we are in it now. And now we have even potential war. So we're having to face that. Time has arrived. It's here. The time has arrived, and it's time to really dig in and do the shadow work.
I love this. There's the two things I want to touch upon, because I want to go a little bit back to basics to give comprehension from the standpoint where we are now, even though some of you all may know some of this, but the context is wonderful. But first, I want to go into the different stages, because again, so many of us got caught up in the feel-good stage. It's like, oh my God, the wide awakening. I see colors. I'm seeing spirit. I'm communicating in ways that I haven't before. And there's an addiction to that, or an expectation that that's going to continue. And if we're not getting there, it feels like we're doing something wrong. And the aspect of self-judgment really can take us backwards instead of moving us forward, even though we have access in ways that we didn't before.
Good point. And I hear that too in sessions with new clients. I've been doing this for 30 years, and now I feel like I'm back where I started. And I'm like, no, actually, now you can just start working on what's coming up to the surface. It's like oil on water. This stuff is rising if we want it or not. And you can split out and get high and do spiritual bypassing, or you can just say, you know what, I'm going to feel this and heal this. And one of the things that I love about this modality is that it's not where we have to go back and relive every single pain and suffering and wound and hurt that happened to heal it. When you're really in the quantum field and you're in that that consciousness, you can just identify, okay, let's say this is a core wound where my female was abused. All right, I'm going to now just focus on the wounded feminine. I don't have to go into every single event of this, and that's what I love about, that's why things are moving faster. You're going to the whole composite of your history of, let's say, that wound, and beginning to transmute it and clear it, dissolve it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And again, I want to bring perspective to that, because we are getting to a point of choice. I mean, we are becoming conscious creators. It's not happening to us necessarily. We're in a relational dynamic where we get to choose how we want to respond and be with the energies that are flowing through.
Yes, because we are divine master souls. So of course we have divine will. And this is also in, the training package that I'm offering today. We have to basically choose, are we going to align with ego will, or are we going to align with divine will? And that is a major choice and commitment we make in our lives.
So let's bring it back a couple of bits of information back to the beginning. When you talked about the magnetic fields, what are the magnetic fields, the way that you see them, and how do they affect us, and how do we relate to them consciously and through our divine will, so that we can really be in right relationship with it?
Okay, so we're living in a polarized world where we have North and South Pole, and it creates this kind of battle between those two forces, right? It's an electromagnetic field, opposites attract, so they're like trying to push against each other. So positive, negative, soul, ego, heart, mind, masculine, feminine, like all these aspects of us, if we don't do anything, we'll still maintain that opposition force within us and in our lives. And it creates chaos, it creates conflict, constant conflict in our lives. So more of getting in and working with your electromagnetic field to bring the opposing forces into what's called a 0-point coherence. You start bringing them into a neutral coexistence, a harmonic coexistence, instead of an opposition. And that's a game changer. At that point, then, that's why things can spin out, release out, clear out, because you're holding such a calm stillness, a neutral state of being, that you're not letting that ego grab on and hold on to all of that you're trying to let go of. And so that's what's happening within the whole planet, as you're seeing the extreme polarity playing out in the whole planet. As the magnetic field it's actually being impacted by gamma rays from our space. So it's actually changing like the consistency and the frequency of the magnetics. So it's, in a sense, it's weakening the magnetics. So they aren't as locked. They're getting more kind of fluid and malleable. And this is where we've even seen in history where, like even the sun, I think it's every 11 years, the sun's magnetic field will alter, right? The poles, we have actually 4 poles in the sun, and they will get very malleable and they will change and shift. And so we're in that process too in the planetary field. So everything that was held in, so think of it like our patriarchal system was locked in, right? The wealth imbalance locked in. There's like all this stuff that was locked in that we were born into, and we just had to make do with it. We had to do our best in it. Kind of the hierarchical, right? Pyramid top down structure locked in, and all of that is changing, as you can see in the news. All of that is weakening and loosening and unlocking. And this is our moment to come in, slide in, and bring in a new system.
Oh my God, this brings up so many things that have been coming through my awareness, but I want to get into the tools first, and Metatron's Cube and all that. It seems like all this is happening organically. I don't think anybody is exempt from the experience in different ways. Why is it important to have tools like what you offer support, as opposed to just going through the stream of consciousness that's flowing organically, regardless of whether we choose to participate or not?
Well, that's a good question. If you're passive, then you're in that push-pull of the polarized energy. You're just, it's operating in every area, in your relationships and your income and your work and everything, in your health. It's just like boom, 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 boom. If you make a conscious choice to shift into a different operating system, which is what we're talking about, we're leaving behind that very lockdown polarized system, and we're shifting into a 0-point coherent system. By doing that, then and it's really just in your field, because we still live with billions of people in the collective around the planet. Okay, so whatever they're doing, we are getting to a place where we're going to become, in a way, really in our own electromagnetic field, in a different system. I know this might be hard for some people to understand, but that's what we're doing. We're consciously choosing to change our system from a very rigid, binary, polarized system into a quantum system. That's what we're doing here when we use these tools. And so it opens where we were locked down in time density and just a physical world of separation. It removes all that time density, time barriers, and it opens our field to all that exists in the quantum field. This is life altering, and it gives you then unlimited opportunity to create a very different reality. And so those of us who have it in our blueprint, as I do and as you do, to be these new earth way showers, to be in a way demonstrating and teaching and showing how to shift from a polarized system to a quantum system and begin to create this new earth paradigm. I found I cannot even not do it. Like, it's so hardwired into me that from the get-go, when I had my awakening in January 94, it was obsession. I have to do this. Like, there's nothing else that I'd try to go, look over here. No, hold right on there. This is what you're here. This is what you're here to do. Nothing else matters, because many of us, like myself, have come literally from the future to get into the physical body, onto the earth plane, and get this new earth opened up, activated, and available to everyone who wants to come into it. And it's not a different planet, it's actually a different dimensional hologram on the planet. It's a different timeline. And that's where we're choosing to move out of the patriarchal top-down system timeline, which I call just the old earth. You can call it whatever you want. I call it the old earth to make it simple. And then we're moving into the new earth, which is actually which really got launched on 222 this year, is a circular, collaborative, feminine system. Instead of a top-down system, we're moving into a circular, collaborative system. It's a very different system of leadership and interacting with each other and creating in the world and sustaining ourselves in the world.
What are you seeing on an individual level as you work with clients that are changes that are happening in their life as they align with this new feminine aspect, as they align with this new earth integration?
I work mostly with women. I do have male clients, but the majority are women, and they're going through their own healing process of wherever they were oppressed or abused or wounded. So, because we have to heal and transcend our own history of being in an oppressive state. And then as we do that, it creates a very sacred temple for our own divine feminine priestess goddess energy to come in and really lead, really start to take very conscious, active steps to create this new world. So people are doing it in lots of ways. You can, and you can do it in more of a spiritual way, where you are really visualizing and influencing the field, or you could do it in very practical ways where you're out there working with nonprofits or donating or activism or whatever it is that draws you, because we all have our own little special piece we're adding to this. Whatever draws you. You might be an artist, you might be a writer, you might be a songwriter, singer, so however this flows through you. I'm seeing it also where they're starting to get rather singular with their focus as well. It's like, and also too, a lot of people have reached a point where, they played the old world game, they made a living, they got a house or whatever, they did all this stuff, and now they're like, okay, I want to do what my soul is here for. And so that's a whole kind of a new orientation happening right in the mind, right? So it's a reorientation into, okay, now I'm just committing 100% to what I'm here to do.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I love the way that you explained that. And it was very prevalent for me as I traveled through Egypt and I was going through the different temples, and we had the pharaohs, the king's chambers, but it was the queen energy, the pharaoh energy from the feminine through Hastaput, Isis coming in really strong, connected to the Magdalene energies and all that I felt the femininity, but there was an integrated balance with the masculine that was very pronounced that I didn't feel the last time that I went.
That's interesting. Well, I think that's what's happening now with this year is a 222. So we're really getting the power of that divine. 2 represents the feminine. We're getting that divine feminine. I've also been noticing that from 2012 to 2021 was like the first 10 years of the awakening and the releasing. Like on December 21st, 2012, the control simulation on the planet, kind of whatever you want to call it, unlocked, and this really began a purging period for the last 10 years. Oh my God, just constant decomposing and dissolving and purging of our history of being in that system. This year starts another 10-year cycle where it's now where we're embracing this, like you mentioned, this divine feminine, and to balance with our masculine and unite with our masculine, like really that sacred heart, sacred union is coming alive inside us. And so that's setting up this next 10-year phase where we start to merge with the soul and we begin to embody and live as the divine master soul, but in a human experience. And like, how crazy is that? I don't think we've been doing that yet. We've had to kind of split out to go and be in the soul presence, the soul essence. Now we're going to start living. That's why I call us, we're becoming divine humans. We're literally living a typical human life, right? Where you had all your daily stuff going on, you have relationships, you're making an income, whatever, you're taking care of your food and your health and all of it, but you're doing it from the eyes of the soul and the heart of the soul. It's a completely different reality that's birthing for us these next 10 years starting this year.
What's interesting as you're talking about this and I start contemplating the shadow aspects as well, I also get into where the feminine was holding back their power in the shadow, where it was behind the luminescence, where the masculine was allowing the shadow of the feminine to run in the background, not consciously, actually in a disempowered way also. So even healing shadow from that perspective is integrating these fragmented pieces.
They are fragmented pieces. They are. I find as I go through, and that's in this course, is how to heal your fragmented pieces, because then you start to integrate that lost power in that fragment, right? And so not only are you piecing yourself together like puzzle pieces, right? And you're starting to become whole again, but you're also building your power back. Like you're starting to, and we're talking that feminine power is, it's essential to be in that creative process and to also be able to receive the abundance of the universe. When you're all masculine, there's no receiving going on. You're just pushing. So as you start to bring in that balancing aspect of the feminine, I still get some emails where men think I'm talking about we're going into matriarchy. Okay, nah, I never said that word. We're not going into a matriarchy, you guys. We're going into balanced wholeness, and that ways then we're embodying both our divine feminine and divine masculine. It's such a unification, such a sacred heart, union, sacred marriage, that we are tapping into levels of soul strength and ability and wisdom that we've not been able to, if ever, since the original Zep-Tepi civilization. I think this is a whole new, it's a birthing of a whole new human society.
I agree with you. Well, what comes up for me again as we're discussing this and you're sharing this is that fragmented aspect also also kept us opening to perceiving and living in other people's realities that weren't our own.
True.
So we were open to information bombarding us and affecting what we believe is truth, living in somebody else's holographic reality.
Yes, because when you are in a fragmented state like that, typically your aura is also well, it's vulnerable, it's open, you know. And so when you get into any kind of relationship, be it with a family or friends or a partner, you start enmeshing. And that's actually a big portion of this course, is how to unmesh from everybody and clear the codependency program, clear out this symbiotic patterning we've all been doing. Because when you, as you mentioned, John, when you start to merge with others like that, you lose yourself. You don't even know what's going through your mind. Is it your own thought or someone else's program? Like, you really lose the integrity, the authenticity of yourself. So it's very important to start to pull back away from everything that you've been merged with and start containing yourself and embodying the soul. And that's how you start to really get to know, well, who really am I? Because now it's your essence is in you. So you're living with it every day, right? You can start to feel, what's my vibration? What does my heart want to get involved in? What do I feel inspired to create in the world? That's all your essence flowing through you once you have contained and pulled away from all the merging with everything else out there. You could be merging with people, but you could also be merging just with the collective.
Right. Oh yeah.
Hello.
Oh yeah. And we have been. I've noticed over the last few weeks, a lot of people being more susceptible to getting ill, to getting the flu, to getting stomach bugs. Like it's coming through, and it's healing because of what is being amplified in the world right now. And because we are becoming clearer vehicles as we go through this organic progression, stuff that doesn't serve anymore, that doesn't fit, that isn't part of the reality that we're saying yes to, it's coming up not only for healing, but for transmutation.
For transmutation, it'll make you ill. If it's not resonating with your soul truth, your soul vibration, it now is like toxic sludge inside your field and your body, and you'll feel it. We're not going to be able to. Well, I think part of it was we were so dense, we didn't feel it before. But now, as all the magnetic fields are shifting and thinning, now you really are going to feel it. You can't ignore it. And your body's trying to tell you, hello, we need to look at this. We need to work on this. The other thing too that I'm noticing in the collective, so because we had this Venus, Mars, Pluto conjunction on March 3rd, that was huge. I mean, well, it's really affecting the United States because we're having our Pluto return.
Which I wanted to talk to you about. Huge.
Oh my goodness. But let's just do a real quick synopsis. I wrote down a couple notes of what this is doing. This is like illuminating. Pluto's the dark side, Pluto's your shadow. It's illuminating. And then Venus and Mars are our personal planets, right? Our masculine and feminine. So it's illuminating the shadow. So on a personal level, you may have had like dreams of past relationships coming up. You might have had wounds. We are becoming really conscious of past wounds with the opposite sex, or like it's just been kind of like stirring the pot. But then out on the collective layer, out in the world, we're seeing that it's a big spotlight on our history, the shadow history, our colonialism and indigenous genocide. These things are slavery. This stuff is disgusting. This stuff is what has to be transmuted. This has to be healed. The wealth imbalance, the growing fascism, this stuff has to be transmuted out of our planetary system. So the corruption is coming up. It's all being revealed to be transmuted. So just think of that. We're also seeing where powerful leaders are falling from grace. Like what used to work even 5 to 10 years ago, where they could get away with it. We are all so integrated now, especially because of social media and the internet, that there is a majority of our society who is sick of it. And we're like, no more war, no more violence, no more abuse. We want to live in peace and harmony and love. So that is, I never thought we'd reach this moment, but that is happening right now.
Yeah, it's funny. A year ago, I very clearly in the meditation in the channel, I heard that again, the United States would have the opportunity to rise again to its original blueprint and its intention.
Yeah.
And again, the opportunity would be there. And if it did, what can be birthed from the coordinates and where we live to be a model for what's possible could be extraordinary. And then as I found out about the Pluto return for the US over the last few weeks, it's like, well, that makes sense. And I like pointing to the United States because it also points to what we're choosing individually. What are we choosing in this Pluto return to be? Are we choosing more of the old, the control, the domination, if you will, over aspects of our lives that we would rather suppress because it feels more comfortable or feels safe, or it feels like that's the only way that we can produce and create? Or are we going to choose a different way that's aligned for the good of the collective, not just for the good of
that's what I'm seeing. Are we gonna really stand up and fight for multiracial democracy?
Yeah. And we're at a choice point. We're at
we are.
When do you see that crux of that choice point getting to a point of no return, perhaps?
Oh, wow.
And I know that's a tough question, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's happening for all of us.
I was really feeling last year we were heading away from it. Now I don't feel that. Now I think this 222 energy just gave us a Hail Mary. This 222 energy just said, oh shit, we can't have that happen. and it opened us to it's like potential timelines are ready to come in where we really start to have democracy. And democracy can have some of its own problems, but really a clean democracy, not a corrupt one, where every vote counts and we really are choosing how we live together. That's the circular system that's coming in now. I keep sensing like by 2030 would probably be the no return point. 2024's got a lot of energy, of course, the United States, because it's our next presidential election. But I think if we can keep the momentum of what's starting this year, continuing it forward, then the old system does not have a chance.
I agree with you. I know we can. It's not if, I know we can. It's just choice. And where do we want to go with divine will? And so I want to encourage that. Meg, before we get into Q&A, and I want to go into your package in a little bit, I have to go here because I'm so curious as to, well, we talked about it a little bit before we went live on the call. But I find that there's a lot of people who've been doing their work for a long time and really getting to that place of their sovereignty and recognizing themselves and recognizing the barometer within their soul, their body, their heart, and their mind as to these calibrations that are happening in integrity with what is blossoming within them. As we're doing that, if I find that it's almost become like, okay, where do I find inspiration now? Where is it that I find resonance? These conversations that I was having before, these mentors that were teaching in a way, it doesn't provide the same type of excitement as they did before. And I asked you, and I told you that when I got back from Egypt, I felt a strong calling for like this mentorship or like this energy coming through that somehow wants to be birthed through me, because I feel like, guess I'm ready for it, or there's a sincere wanting to be in a relationship and what's else is developing within me. What are you noticing through, again, the people that you're working with and in your own experience about that next level of?
It is a next level, isn't it? It's about our own self-mastery at this point, where we are being guided to have our higher self mentor us, or our spirit guide mentor us. I would not even be here without Metatron mentoring me. So it's like moving into these sacred relationships with the divine, and it's, I think, happening at the same time that we're seeing so much being revealed in the spiritual community and New Age community of the abuses that a lot of these teachers have been doing. So it starts to dissuade people from giving their 100% to any teacher, in case that, or a guru or whatever it is, that could, they could be disempowered by doing that action. So I think it's a fine line, that we're walking. I find if anyone tries to even remotely try to put me into gurus, I'm like, I am not your guru. Don't even try it. I'm not letting that happen. It makes me so uncomfortable. I want to teach you to be your own guru, so that's where this, like you mentioned, we're going to this next level, this higher level. You can still take courses, you can still join groups, I think people want to actually join groups. But it's the circular, you guys, everyone in the group is your equal, right? And so you join these groups and you share and you learn from each other and you encourage each other. And it's a community, it's a spiritual community, but no one is on the pedestal wanting to be worshipped, and dominating. So I think this is another shadow element that is in the mix right now of transforming.
Oh, amazing.
It's not fully there yet, but it is transforming.
Definitely. And again, we're starting to feel energetically, again, the magnetic field is really,
it's morphing like crazy. It really is. And I just warn people. I warn people to watch out for anyone. I see this. People send me examples. I see this all the time where they'll be on YouTube and they'll tell them, well, don't look at the news and don't look at this and they're telling people not to trust their own feelings and their own thoughts. Just click onto me every week and I'll tell you what's, and it creates this dependency. That's exactly what my package is about. Like, you want to get out of dependencies on anyone.
Well, and I find that information, when it goes that way, it's very circular communication. It's saying a lot, but it's not saying anything at all.
It's not saying anything. It's really a spell.
Yeah,
that's all it is. They're just
anything at all.
Spells.
People are just mesmerized. It's like something about it feels good, but you don't know what, and you can't quite explain it. And there's no application to apply it into your life.
Yep. They just want you to keep coming back to them and paying them money.
FYI, that's our PSA announcement for everybody. That's the PSA announcement. And yeah, again, the awareness, just the awareness. And if there's doubt, just trust your doubt. Instead of doubting your doubt, trust your doubts. It's like, oh
yeah, it doesn't feel good. Yeah, just back off.
Yeah. And if you don't know, it's like, all right, I don't know. Let me ask more grounded questions. Amazing. We need to do our own work. Yes, Daniel.
We do, Daniel.
And we're able to access it. Well, Meg, I want to open up to Q&A. We got already a ton of people with their hands up. And before we get into that, let's get into your special offer. It's only $97. And the way that you're sharing the Healing the Shadow in this way, it's so empowering. And I love what you're bringing through. And just 5 minutes on the phone call with you before I went to Egypt and 2 minutes before we went online, it's just so much came through. So I can imagine being immersed in this with you. So everybody, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. Just click on the little icon there at the bottom of your screen, and it'll take you to the special offer page, or go to on a web browser. Type in beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg27. Is it 27? I think it is. It is. And it'll take you to that same page. And Meg, guide us through what everybody's going to receive. And I think it includes a live call with you as well, right? It
certainly does. So this is my new course at my academy. It's called the Healing Shadow Self. It's a self-study course. And we go deep, I'll take you into becoming steps to becoming conscious aware, to accept and to forgive and transmute whatever is in the hidden, right? In the hidden unconscious. I'll teach you how to even use the mirror effect to begin to identify what is hidden, because that's a step right there. How do I even know what's hidden? So we begin to watch what shows up on the outer holographic reality that's out of balance, that's we're triggered by, that causes conflict. You start journaling, you start really beginning to identify where this is running in the unconscious self, the shadow self, so that you can start to bring it out into the open, into the light, into healing it, and into the transmutation steps. And I've got a whole workbook of protocols, healing protocols, to transmute a whole array of what we would call shadow programming or shadow patterning. It's as basic as just trauma held in the body, to codependency, symbiosis, addictions. It's a big one. Addictions, victimization programming, the persecution complex. We see that one everywhere out in the world. These are all what we would call programs or patterns of our ego shadow. So this is egoic work that we're doing. We're learning and how to master the ego and begin to bring the ego into the light and transmute the ego's shadow. So it's not about trying to destroy the ego or get rid of the ego. It's actually transcending the ego with you. So the ego is ascending with you into higher and higher light consciousness and into the light. This healing shadow course comes with an ebook training manual. This course is like double the size of all my other courses. It's like a turbo course. This is huge because there's so much in it that I couldn't stop writing. And I was like, okay, this thing's gonna be massive. So there's the big training manual, then the workbook with the healing protocols and exercises to do in journaling, as well as it's almost a 2-hour live video training with me, going over everything. And then I typically only have one audio meditation that you can work with the protocols directly. Well, there's like 25 pages of protocols. So I have 3 audio meditations. I had to break them into smaller meditations. There's so much in there. And so these are MP3 audio downloads that you can listen to every day. And so what you're doing is you're identifying hidden unconscious aspects, working with the ego persona, healing the fragmented self, healing core wounding, starting to kind of disentangle from ancestral generational patterning of programming, let's say, of addiction or of depression or of lack. These are very common, and beginning to, as you transmute and release, you fill in with more and more of your own divine soul presence. And that's the whole goal here, is doing the soul merge, is embodying the soul. So the course is all there, downloadable, so you can work on it on your own at your own pace. And then I'm doing a webinar at the end of this month on March 30th. And these webinars usually last like 3 hours, and I take all your questions and we do the protocols live. So I'll be working with you energetically live with the healing protocols in this webinar. And so it reinforces the time you've studied. Then you can really do it live with me and reinforce what you're learning and be able to keep applying it. And then of course, you'll always have the Zoom replay of the webinar to always go back on. So it's really an intensive course that you can work on for as long as you really feel you need it. So I'm real thrilled to share it with everyone.
Well, I think it's beautiful because by having access and keep coming back to the different layers of the different complexes, the victimization, something that you talk about in here also is the persecution complex, which I'd love for you to touch into that a little bit more, because it's something that I believe has been buried a little bit as we've gone through a macro of it in the past. But I think there's micro aspects as we heal that still kind of run a little bit of our decision-making process because we're afraid to express or be. um, because of other things that are happening in the background.
So true. So I was talking earlier about magnetic field and that kind of push-pull of the polarities. Well, one of the biggest polarities of the ego is victimization and persecution. They go hand in hand. They're two extremes of the same energy. So anytime that we feel that we've been attacked or harmed or victimized, then our ego starts to obsess and starts to want revenge. And then it flips over and now it's the persecutor and it wants to go and attack. And this is a horrible cycle for us to get caught into. We want to remove this entire debilitating cycle. Now, what the persecution complex does, though, is it's running in the unconscious. So it's imagining harm coming in from others. And I hear this all the time in the spiritual community. Everyone is believing they're being attacked by psychic entities and demons, and oh my God. And it's so the persecution is not only running with the people around you, but also they're believing it's all happening in the astral plane. So this is shadow that's active in you, creating delusion and paranoia and this persecution complex. When I start to hear someone who's constantly blaming, that's my, that's it. Oh, okay, we got some persecution complex running. I found it active in me when I could not get myself to put even my picture on my website 20 years ago, because I had lifetimes of being, burned and beheaded. And, so the persecution was very much in my cellular memory. So I'm not actually discounting that. And I had childhood sexual abuse. So I have been a victim of abuse and I have been a victim of persecution. But when you heal that and you are able to move into a place of grace and neutrality with that, then you should no longer have victimization or persecution running. So if you still do, now it's the ego that's running it. And that's where we want to clear that out. That's a debilitating, polarized programming we have to get out.
One that's very subtle for me, and again, it's a fine line between the expansion of the awareness and the limitation of the perception of it. When we start getting into the persecution complex of when we feel that we're picking up on the collective rather than on something that's really ours.
Oh, that happens a lot too. And also you can have what's called trauma bonding. And so you're feeling all this charge and excitement and endorphins, and you're linking with people or groups and you're really excited about it. And it's all coming from your shadow. This is not healthy. So a lot of people say, well, just follow your gut. But if you still are holding all that trauma and shadow in your gut, that's what you're feeling. And you don't want to base your conscious decisions on that. You want to heal that first, clear that first. So it's your soul that's inside your chakras, not the ego. This ego should never be in our chakra column, and it is. And that's the problem, that we have to clean it out.
So will this course help us to identify and observe these patterns as well and these beliefs? Excellent.
Yes.
This is liberation on a whole nother level, y'all. I mean, truly, again,
this is from my own personal experience for 30 years and then working with thousands of clients going over this stuff. This is I think a large part of our work, and most people don't want to do it, and it's not easy and it's not fun. So I thought, I'm never going to sell this course. Nobody wants it. But I thought, well, let me see if I can put it in a way that it really is accessible, and you can, and it's it's easy to understand. You can really knock stuff out where it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming.
I love this, and I'm so glad you said that. I'm going to get into Q&A here in a second, y'all. But again, this is so important for me, because when you said that, Meg, my thought was like, guys, this is not a quick fix 30-minute course and all your wounding and your trauma is going to be healed and transmuted into something and you'll never have a problem again. It doesn't work that way.
This is deep, and
anything that promises you that, sorry, it's not.
That's upping the top layer. Okay, we're going deep into the layers under. We're going to the core wounds underneath that layer.
And by even going to the top layer, we can help to disentangle and loosen up the soil to pull out the weeds. But you got to get down into the root of the weeds.
You got to get into the weeds. You got to get the roots.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I love bringing you on, Meg, because there's a realization of we can clear out top layers. We can allow it. We can work with Metatron's cube and the energy and the magnetics of what's there and provide an environment that before you know it, you are down to the core of it. You are turning it around. You are getting in a harmonization of what's possible with the new earth. But again, y'all, I'm be very clear, make no mistake about it. It's your divine will and your choice that's going to allow that to happen. And Mega's providing a tool that works, an awareness that works, an awareness that is self-empowering, not where you have to lean into her or lean into beyond the ordinary or me into doing it, but it's through that community, through that heart expansion, through providing what we have access to, that provides the impetus for the shifts and the release and opening up to the healing protocols that become available. So this is fantastic, Meg. I'm glad that you put it together for us and that you've given us enough credit to say, okay, these guys can do it. It's just time. So,
and it is empowering because you're doing it. You know, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
It is empowering.
Wow. I love that you said that also, because I mean, look at all the times that we've looked for other people to look at us saying, look, you can do it. Look, I'm going to support you. Look, I'm going to hold your hand. And you're saying this like, no, you're choosing to do it because you know you can do it.
There always is people who can, provide another set of eyes and help, but even in the private sessions I do, I expect them to come in and tell me, what are you working on? And what what are we going to do? They're guiding the work. This is your responsibility. This is your field. This is your life, your health. And I'm here to support you in it. So it's really always back to you.
Well, it's back to you. And what's also being provided is that you're allowing us to go into levels of self-mastery. You're igniting the leadership component in us that is necessary for these changes that we're looking on in the world.
We need to become the light leaders, you guys. Yes, our time has arrived. Yes.
That's the calling, and y'all are showing up for this. And even this conversation, again, it's loosening those top layers and providing rest. So this is wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go into Q&A. Before I do that, y'all, it's $97 for Meg's course. It is full on, just it's in depth. And again, what Meg's providing, Meg, I'm going to divert a little bit. Meg, there may be a lot of information here, but it seems like also in the information, what you're providing, we're able to go in much quicker than we used to be able to before as well.
Yes, I think so. And I think also too, my soul seems to have an ability to speak on really esoteric topics in a very grounded, I think it's my astrology. I'm very earthbound, very grounded. I can take you down and take you up and you can still follow. Like it makes sense. It's practical. I have Saturn and Capricorn. Like I have a lot of support to be able to put this in a very comprehensive step-by-step procession for you to work with. It's important to me that it's really clear and applicable.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, y'all, it's available there, $97, 2 payment options. The link is in the chat box, or go to in the web browser, beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg27. And Meg, with that, I want to open up to Q&A. I'm so excited to be talking to y'all. So we're going to go first. Peg, let's go to you first. If I can get you to unmute, please.
Okay, great. Oh, Meg, you're singing my song 30 years ago. Bingo. Yes, awesome. Been on a path, as you know, a lot of people have been. And I so agree with so many things that you said. You are right on. This is exactly the same experience that I've had. My question to you is, if you can get any guidance on this, is I am ready to step out. I'm holding back for some reason, and I don't know why. I know I'm a healer. I know I'm an energy healer, especially with my hands. I'm holding back because, well, I don't know why. I mean, I can come up with a list, but I actually think there's more to it than that.
What I pick up when you point me to it is there is a force in the field and it feels old. So I'm gonna guess it's either past life or galactic that you encountered that does not want you to come out and be successful in your soul mission, your soul purpose. So we'll just call it counter force. You know, it's an opposing force. It's a negative force that is feels like in the past you may have given your power to it. And so I'm hearing to just cancel or revoke any power given to that force at this point throughout all time, past, present, and future, and reclaim it back to you now. Break the links, disentangle, cut loose. Whew. Okay, there we go. Starting to move it back away. It was pushing up against, this is where we get outside will, pushing up against our own divine will. It's pushing up against your front chakras. So you're starting to reverse it back away from you. So think of it like you're clearing your path so that it's now free and open so you can step by step walk your path, live your blueprint, live your destiny. Okay, there we go. It's starting to move. Ooh. Getting again, cancel or revoke anywhere agreed to give your power to that being. Cancel or revoke it now. Okay, there it goes. Ooh, lifting off you. And then just reclaim your divine essence, reclaim your beautiful soul light, soul love, soul wisdom, soul gifts. You're feeling inside, giving yourself permission to live it now, to be it, to radiate it out into the world. There is some persecution memory coming off because we were talking about this earlier. Okay, so spinning out, removing out, cleaning out any residual persecution cellular memory, persecution lineage from past timelines. Ooh, just let that release. Ooh. It's coming right off the back of your body there. Just the past off your spine and back chakras there. Okay, there we go. Ooh. This is where we're really cutting loose from our history of being in oppression and in domination and persecution, victimization. We are not victims. We are powerful master souls. We're just having to get in and kind of clean where we're entangled with it a bit from you know, a long history on this planet of this oppression. And now I'm feeling your whole front chakras filling with more of the soul joy of sharing and supporting others, helping others. Yeah. Whew. Heart expansion. Whew. Just giving yourself permission now to bring your gifts to the world. I found I couldn't really do that till I was in the new earth. The new earth's hologram, the new earth timeline, however you relate to it or connect to it, it is safe for us to blaze. It's safe for us to really power up because there's no polarity in it. There's no opposition in it. There you go. There you go. You're shifting more into making the new earth our foundation, our home base. It's our safety net so we can really blow open with our gifts safely. Ooh. Ooh. So lots lifting off you, Peg. You might be releasing tonight. You just kind of keep that, whatever is not your high school, whatever's from the past, whatever was any interaction with that being, you're just letting this all go. It's your history that you're clearing, breaking free from it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you for asking that question. A lot of us were holding that and can feel the shifts as Meg was guiding this transmission. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
I have to go because I need to work with this, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a blessing. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get into some more of y'all from the light community in a second, but Michelle, I was going to ask your question that you typed in, so I'm so glad that you came in on video. Let's get you to unmute and ask away.
Hi, thank you so much. I have it's a bit of a similar challenge because I've worked in a long career of corrections and the masculine, grew up with 6 brothers. And so I'm having a really difficult time coming out as esoteric, metaphysical, coming into my own,
Yep.
because I find that really challenging. So I'm writing a book about, sort of the adventure of coming out. But it's still, I know I'm not going to be burned at the stake, but it's still, I find it a little scary coming out, though, especially when my community and my family, my husband, nobody understands this.
Okay. I have this kind of a similar background. I worked in the corporate world and satellite industry for 30 years. And so last 10 years, I did both. I half the week in the corporate world, half the week building my healing practice, because 30 years ago, this doesn't really exist. So it was, everyone thought I was insane. So nobody understood what quantum healing was at all back then. And so I had to tread carefully. Also, I was super masculine because I was a project manager in the corporate world. And so one of the things, I'll share this with you, this really helped me because we want to soften all that masculine energy a bit so you can balance it with your feminine gifts, your feminine characteristics, your feminine power. So they had me, so let's just try it for a minute. So they say, okay, imagine that you're going to step into a golden pool of light. And I would do this in a bathtub. Okay, so I'd be in, and I would just immerse myself in this golden pool of light, and it's feminine fluid energy. And I just let it soften the rigid edges of the masculine and soften the mind, the mental, and soften the control, all of that. Just ease it a bit and start to get, in a way, you're molding your own energetics to get more fluid, with some more of the feminine essence, balancing all that. You've already mastered the masculine. You need to now add in more of the feminine. And and the feminine is where we receive everything. We receive all the blessings, receive all the abundance from the universe. Everything the universe is trying to send to us, we can't receive any of it if we're full on just masculine. So you're starting to get into a more of a fluid receptive state. You're retraining your atoms. Okay, you're retraining yourself. I did this every night and it really helped. Then we were talking a little bit about shifting from ego will to divine will. Then I had to realize that I'm not here to please my family or my workmates or my friends or neighbors. Okay, I came in with this gift, and it would be such a shame if I suppressed it. It would be a missed opportunity. It would be a lost life, right? If you're not going to allow that to flow through you. And that's more the feminine, allowing your gifts to flow through you instead of feeling like you have to go out. And you don't want to take it out into that capitalistic system. You want to start birthing it in the new earth system, the circular system, so that it's a receptive system for what you're here to do. So one of the things I had to do is I had a mantra, because my ego fought me every step of the way. In the early years, I thought I was going to like vomit before every session. My ego was so upset, so afraid, so freaked out. So I had to realize, one, my human doesn't know how to do any of this. This is my soul working through me. So I would tell my ego, tell the human, just go take a chill pill, just relax. We're a clear and open channel for the soul to work through us. And it worked. They'd go and get quiet and I could work. So realize this is your soul's work. So let your soul work through you. The human doesn't know how to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing too is then once I would have a session and we'd finish, and it would feel like, that was awesome. Oh my God, that was so great. And within minutes, the ego's in there shredding it apart. That was a piece of shit. Who do you think you are? Blah, 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 right? So that happens, and it's fast. Like it was within minutes, right? Hanging up the phone and it starts shredding. So then my higher self would say, okay, as soon as you finish, this is for everybody, as soon as you finish doing something that is part of your soul gift, be it healing or art or whatever it is, kind of take it and picture it like a precious gem and pull it inside your heart center and protect it. And so I started, it was like I had an empty treasure chest and it started filling, you know, I was like, oh, another gem, oh, another gem, oh, another gem. And that way the ego couldn't get to it. So it began to build inner sense of accomplishment and confidence. And okay, I can do this. I got this. And no, you don't get to go and destroy it. Not letting that ego destroy it. So we become the kind of the guardian and the protector of our gift and how we're sharing it in the world. So I think it was baby steps for me, but I also did it so long ago. The world is very open to what you're here to bring now. Do you know that? The world is very open to it.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't feel like it when you're surrounded by, and this is such a shift for me too. People don't know me as that. But
well, you're going to be bringing in a whole new tribe. You're going to be bringing in a whole new circle that matches you, matches your soul and your soul's work.
Right. Yeah.
Meg, it's so interesting. And Michelle, maybe this will relate, and this may be a crude example, but we have this fear that our souls are so fragile that it can't take it. And your soul can take a punch or two.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we have to be willing to just stand there toe to toe with the ego and be willing to supposedly take that punch and go, you know what, that didn't hurt. Like I was so afraid that it was going to, that I was going to take something from you. And as you're in that and you take those baby steps that, you know, I'm going to stand here and see what happens when I take this jab or open up to the potentiality of it. And you're going to find that your soul is so much stronger than anything that you ever gave it credit for, because of the fear of how fragile it might be. Because of its love and its light, it must be fragile and it's innocent. That's not true. It's quite the opposite.
Powerful.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's so freeing. Mm-hmm.
It really is. And so when you know that whatever's coming at you, that your soul and that you as human Michelle, because like, damn, I'm pretty darn resilient. Hold on a second. This, you know, I used to be so afraid. It's like nothing. You actually not only get to build up your magnetic field with your intentionality, but then you hold a cohesive field for other people to be empowered in the strength of that, amidst the bullying energy that would try to tell you that you're so fragile, that if anything comes at you, that you're going to crumble in its wake. That's not the truth anymore. The shadow wants you to believe that.
That's the shadow that's telling you that.
Yeah.
That's the ego telling you that. That's not the truth at all. When I hear that stuff, think of it like it's just shadow looping in the background in the mind. I just reach in, I grab it, fling it out. Mm-hmm. Forget it. I don't want to hear you ever again. Like I aggressively go at it and pull it out. You're the boss. And our souls are really powerful.
Stand in your power. The idea that you're so fragile, it doesn't serve you or anybody else. And you're not. Right. You're not. Right. Have fun with it.
And what's the worst that can happen, right? Really.
Open up and you're happy and you're free yourself.
Right.
That's the worst that can happen. Thank God.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Your ego might die a little bit or a lot.
Yeah, well.
Thank goodness for that also, because again, you're forming the trajectory for the new timeline that you have access to. Mm-hmm. And it's just time. I mean, really, 22222, the 3-3 gateways, the planetary influence, the Pluto adjustments that we're all going through a subsense. It's just time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just is. Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's go now to Pierina. Hello, Pierina from our light community. Welcome.
Hi, John. Hi, Meg. So nice to meet you. Don't mind my cat. So I've had similar situation in my life, similar to what Peg was talking about. And so each time I want to develop myself or I want to attract new clients or put myself out there, I always get slammed back down. So, and my family is not open to it at all. So I just feel like I'm surrounded by
there's
a very supportive community.
there's a program running in the field that is opposing your success as well, but I think it is actually ancestral. I think it is coming through the family, the generations through the family. So when we work on ancestral programming and patterning, think of it like we signed a contract when we came into the family that we were going to be born into that program, and at some point we just reach the finish point, right? Where I'm done. I don't need to be keeping this alive. I don't need to participate. I can even have a relationship with my family members without being in that ancestral programming. So that's what I'm sensing you are. You're at that fed up level where you're done. You don't need to give it your power, your energy, agree to it any longer. So when we're working with ancestral programming, think of it like a legal document. It's a contract. Okay, so in your heart and mind, picture your soul contract with your birth family, and we're going back at least 6 generations in the ancestral lineage. And you're acknowledging that this has been operating. It's been a suppression program that is it's like a ceiling. You can't pass the ceiling, right? It's a suppression. I can see it, actually feel it on you. So you're no longer willing to participate in it. So in your heart and mind, you're going to cancel, revoke any participation in this family operating system, tear up the contract, put it in the refiner's fire of source light, null and void, cancel, revoke it. You're beginning to release the energetics out of your body, heart, mind field. Imagine you're pulling all cords, links, hooks, lines, entanglements to the ancestral matrix of that oppressive, limiting program. Okay, whew, that's popping off you. Whoa, it's coming out of your chakras. Pop it out, pop it out, pop it out. Front and back. And then it's starting to lift. Okay, when I see operating systems, they kind of feel like a cage, right? And it's starting to lift off the body. So as you unplug, you pull your power from it, pull your energetics from it, you're lifting that operating system, that cage up and out, up to source light to be transmuted to light. Ooh, there it goes, releasing off you. Ooh. And so that was the engine, and now we're cleaning out the software that was running in that engine. So there's the program right now. So imagine you're under like a crystal diamond shower. This is the God light, just it's a purification light. Let it wash through you, cleaning out the program of oppression, of limitation. Oh, and it's coming out everywhere. You're kind of swimming in it. Ooh. Okay, there we go. That's lifting. It's coming out of the brainstem amygdala, which is our unconscious brain, right out of the back there. Ooh, that's where most of this stuff runs, by the way, everybody. Ooh. Oh, it's almost like sticky coming out there. Yeah. Ugh. You might have to clean that for a bit. It's sticky, but it's loosening up and it's releasing. It's just unconscious programming coming out of the brainstem. Now, every time that we do major releases or clearings, we replace with more of our divine soul presence. So imagine you're just breathing down your chakra channel, more of your, I always see the soul like a kind of a golden white light. So just bringing more of your soul light into the neural pathways in the brain, so becoming more of your soul consciousness filling. There you go, right into the brainstem. Good. Pull it into your heart. So your heart's filling with joy of being in your soul purpose, your soul destiny, your soul gifts. Ooh. Embodying more of your soul essence, your soul power. Then that turns on more of your soul blueprint in the light body to support you in your mission. Now, one of the things that I've experienced when I disentangle out of a family matrix like that is, don't be surprised if they try to poke back in, okay? Because they don't like us breaking free. So just a caveat for everybody, once you are cleared, you might feel, some poking in, trying to get back in, okay? And so you just hold your auric shields around you really strong, because you're filling in with your own soul empowerment. So you're like, okay, I already did that, done. It's not getting back in. this is my soul operating system now. It's taken over. There you go. You flip the switch and you're moving now into your own. And no matter if anyone tries to kind of poke at you or guilt you out or whatever, nope, I'm where I need to be. Thank you.
Do you know if it's more my mother's lineage or my father's lineage?
It feels more mother.
Mother.
I know they got both. Both sides got it.
Hmm?
Both sides have it in different ways. You're untangling from both family lines. Yeah. Just to break free. You're breaking free. Done.
Yeah, Perina, thank you so much. I feel the
Thank you.
movement from both sides in my body as well. I can feel it just from both sides of my. If I'm split down the middle,
Yeah.
it's
Masculine, feminine. Yeah. Yeah. Done. We're done.
wow.
Thank you so much. I really look forward to your course. I'm excited about it.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Karina.
Blessings.
Well, the course, y'all, again, the link for it's in the chat box. Click on it. It's $97, 2 payment option, 30-day money back guaranteed. Again, to make it a no-brainer for you guys. Or you can click on the link again. Click on the link or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg27. It'll take you to that same page. Let's continue. Meg, I was going to go into process, but we're doing that in these calls, and I'm receiving so much.
Yeah.
Going on.
Let's
So
go.
let's go to Mariam. If you'll pronounce your name correctly for me, that'd be wonderful.
Mariami.
Where is it?
Mariami.
Mariami. Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you for having me. So Meg, you talked a little bit about like the 3 stages that you had, and if I've learned anything from this type of work, it's that it's not linear.
No, you can go back and forth through those stages. Yes, they overlap.
So I'm curious if you could speak a little bit more on, as you release something and more of your soul essence is able to come in, is it possible that that energy comes in and there's not a clear direction forward or a divine like inspiration that comes forth? I'm feeling like a lot of fiery energy and I don't necessarily know a direction forward to go with it.
Yes. So yes, there is quite a bit of soul coming in that could be helping you in other ways. So it's not directional. It's more of maybe it's helping to strengthen the health of the body, or it's helping to create a force field so that you're not dealing with astral entities, or so the soul's coming in and it's enhancing you in lots of different ways. So it's not always occupation. Okay. I found it wasn't as strong in occupation in the beginning. It was more about actually trying to help me personally, just come out of the shadow, come out of the pain, come out of the suffering. So a lot of it is healing in the earlier stages. Just it's healing. It's getting us to a place where we are even able to start to offer our soul gifts out into the world. So don't be upset if you're feeling like I hear this all the time, I'm not getting any guidance. A couple things could be happening. One is that you might be in an integration healing phase. So more of your energy is going inwards. It's not going forward. Okay. That's more the feminine coming in, receiving in, healing, repairing, regenerating. And you don't want to disrupt that if it's really what's happening right now. And there's also a phase in the transmutation stage, which we call being in the void. And I've gone in that void more than once over the past 30 years. So when you feel like you're in the void, it's like nothing out there is materializing yet, right? It's all the actions happening in here. There's nothing going on really out there. And it's frustrating, especially for kind of the human ego part that wants to be out there doing stuff, right? And it's like, oh, all the work's happening in here. That's no fun, and so you kind of feel that dissatisfaction and you feel that frustration because it's not that it's empty out there in the void. It's that you're in this kind of fertile, dynamic womb space energy inside first, and that has to take hold to then birth what's coming next in front of you. So my sense is you are in that repair mode and rebuild mode, and that's what this whole year is about. Actually, it's definitely a year about kind of reinvention, you know, regenerating ourselves with this feminine power that's coming in. But the other thing too, let me just check, because it could also be where how are you doing with actually being in the body, grounding? Because if you're not grounding every day, then you don't have any magnetism. And so you can't pull in what's next. Does that make sense? Like I found there's periods of time where I'd be bitching and moaning to my higher self. I can't seem to manifest anything. And they're like, well, you're going to magnetize in what's inside you. And guess what? You're pretty empty in there because you're not in there. I was like, damn. Okay. So every day I get out of bed, I lock my feet on the grid, and I embody myself. Okay. You want to ground yourself inside your heart, your solar plexus, those are your power centers. The magnetic fields wrap around those chakras, right? So when you are in there, you're also protecting your field when you're in your body. Okay. So you're in there, you're protecting your field, and then you are starting to build a magnetic pulse based on what's in there. If it's just trauma, guess what? We just magnetize more conflict. Okay. If we do our shadow work and we replace it with soul, then you start building soul magnetism, and you're grounding it into your human body, human life. So it starts to pull in what matches your soul essence, your soul's joy. This is that was a big life changer for me when I could flip into that. Does that make sense? So it's worth the minutes to ground, especially, you know, during like, here it is, it's, you know, it's snowing outside. I'm not always outside grounding. So I use my imagination. I visualize grounding into nature, into the grid, if I can't get outside to do it. So there's no excuse. We have to ground. Does that make, okay? So there's a couple of things I think happening here for you.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great question. I'm so glad that you brought it up. And again, if any of y'all take anything away from today's call, just in the most simplistic and most effective thing that you can do right now, grounding and getting into our field and
into the body,
into our power. Just if you take anything away, and there's so much, but really about making it a practice instead of, oh, I forgot, or I'm going to do it every 4 days, or, oh, I've been kind of floaty and I don't know. There's a time for personal responsibility. And also, if there's a reflection or an aspect of you that people are abandoning me, they don't show up, I feel alone, I feel confused, and all this is coming up. It's like, well, what is it that you can do to show up for yourself?
Yeah. That's the mirror effect. That's what you're talking about. That's where the signs are telling us our own condition. And I have had days where I feel like I just like crossed my living room and I was on air. I was walking on air. I never touched the floor. Okay, Meg, time to go get grounded.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the mirror effect. You're watching and observing what's being mirrored to you. It's telling you a lot of information.
It really is. And if we get into the practice, when you get into the practice of being in those relational dynamics that you're creating yourself and paying attention and noticing the subtle information that's being given to you, and sometimes it's not so subtle, it just seems subtle, your reality starts to shift, your timeline focus and the creative power that you emanate. It's your manifestation capacities from those spaces are exponentially more than anywhere that you can be in this empowered voiced space, because you're not choosing you.
Yeah. When you're present, I found that that's the big case. When I could be 100% present, the universe was 100% there for me. When I would withdraw, withhold, wishy-washy, it wasn't all there for me.
Checking that on Netflix, I don't know. I didn't miss this, like just
Facebook.
Yeah, and again, just coming back, and it's hard because we have imprinted these habits.
Oh, totally.
in our nervous system. So it's being conscientious. And then, again, it's choosing on a daily basis to do these simple, energetic, hygienic practices. I mean, that's what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's simplify it. Let's ground it in. Simple, energetic, hygienic practices. That's it. Meg's providing frameworks for that. And then a framework for making it an exponential catalyst for the changes that you're looking for. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you get into that practice? And perhaps the question is, why haven't I? Ask
Shadow
yourself
self.
that.
It's the shadow self.
Absolutely.
Because the payback is equal what we put in, if not more.
If not more. Oh, no. It's
our
so
own
much more.
shadow.
It's again, I'm finding my ability to manifest in the field through that presence. It's blowing my mind, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not effort, it's just resonance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different way of relating. So this is so powerful. Dang, Meg, it's 4:27. Okay, it's 4:27 my time. Eileen, I have to get you on the call, Eileen. Let's get you to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
You know, I've been wanting to talk to you. It feels like years, and it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. And I know you work with Metatron, and Metatron came to me during the isolation, and I've been wanting to share this with you for so long. He channeled a piece for me that he called the Clarion Call. And it's totally brass, and it's totally instrumental.
Wow.
And it was his call to action. And what I realized, I mean, it's at the end of this book that I just wrote. And he wasn't just saying it to the readers, he was saying it to me, that it's time to act. And I mean, it was so amazing. He had me put a package down on the piano, and it landed on the black keys at the top. And I knew that there were 5 notes in it, and one of them was the white note. And there it was. There was the Clarion Call, and it was like, oh my God. And
it's so fascinating because I do hear at times these angelic celestial tones that only my higher ears could hear, right? It's not happening in here. It's happening up in the higher angelic realm. And there's a lot of knowledge in those frequencies. There's a lot of wisdom and energetics in those tones that you're picking up. He's communicating through those tones.
yeah, and you know, I wanted to make.
Eileen, did you have a question?
I have a lot of questions. Mainly, it's really about what is it about delay with me? You know, I feel like I'm pulling out of this energy that's making things delayed.
I see.
Delaying with my book, delaying with my music, and I don't quite get it.
All right, let's just tune into your sense of the delay. Let's see what's in it. It's almost like, you know, and we used to have, I'm dating myself, but we used to have LPs, right? You know, we'd play the album and it would skip. You've got a skip running in your energy. Can you feel that? Can you feel that?
Once you said it, it was.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right,
wow.
let's let that go. You don't need that, because it's like repeat, back, right? Okay, so whew, let that go. So we're just going to release that dynamic, cancel, revoke this any longer from running in your body, heart, mind, aura. Removing the skip. Whoa, there it goes. Very old. This is before this life. Very old. It's like we're going back through lifetimes, and like imagine you're pulling the root of it out. It's really old. You can see we're having to follow it to its origin. Okay, there we go. Starting to pull it. Just get out the core root of this skipping and delay. Oh, there it goes. It's coming out. It's coming right out of your core. And you release it up to the source light for transmutation. Imagine you are cleaning your energetics of that root cause, of the delays. Okay, there it goes. Ooh. Whoa. I think it's actually galactic. This is very old. You might have even been delayed like by the Orion Wars. This is very old. This is before Earth. Okay, there it goes. The more's moving out. Oh, out of your core. All right, it's lifting. Imagine you're pulling yourself in a way out of time and you're just coming into the stillness of the now and you're letting all that history go now of the delays, of that root, that bitter root, of the skipping. Okay, good. There you go. You shifted into the now. And then kind of gather and collect all your gifts and your projects and your art, and you're just pulling it into your heart so it can be one with you inside in the now. Have everyone pull all their power, all their gifts, all their wisdom, all their creative arts inside your core, in your heart, in the now. Good, because this is how we power up in our core. And imagine you're holding you and you're holding your gifts and you're holding your life in the universal infinity, right in the center point, the 0 point of the universal infinity. You're just going to hold yourself there in the universal infinity. So everything comes into a neutral state of balance. And your life starts to move into the quantum flow of balance. And you can start to bring your gifts through you into the world in balance, in that flow. Ooh. Ooh, there we go. That's starting to take hold inside. Whoa. We're extracting ourselves out of that old world. We're extracting ourselves out of that old system. We're not agreeing to participate in it ever again. There you go. It's rippling right through you. It's updating you from head to feet. Ooh, you're recoding. Ooh, all the way through. Whoa.
It almost tickled.
It is tickling. my feet are tingling. Whew. And then the feet are locking it onto the new earth grid. So you're making it home for you. It's your foundation. There you go. Good. Stable. It's supporting us. It's balanced. It's in the stillness. Now, you might still feel some of the delayed stuff. It's leaving. So you just set the intent that that's going to continue to release in the coming hours and days. We're just letting it, because your field won't let it hold anymore. So it's just, you might feel that stuff rising and lifting, whatever's left, but we pulled the root. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense, yes.
Yeah.
I knew it was very old and I
It was
just
really
felt like I
old.
couldn't get to it. Yeah.
I think it was before you even came here. Something tried to stop you from even coming here, I think.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's done.
Wow. Amazing. My solar plexus is buzzing. It is spinning. It's like, it's just, oh, I love feeling this. Eileen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And blessings too. Oh my God. Someone is asking, the March 30th live course is included in the special offer. So for $97, you're going to get all those downloads, the PDFs, the different meditations, plus the live course on the 30th. March. Or March 3rd, March 30th. You wrote March 3rd. No, that's different. That's already passed, actually. So it's included under. Y'all, again, the special offer, the link is in the chat box, $97 to payment options, or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg27. And the replay of tonight's call. This is a powerful call. There's so much energy, Meg. We're going to run that through. So y'all come back and listen to the replay and participate. And again, get into the practices, get into applying this on a consistent basis. You're going to see a difference. Meg, tell me.
Someone was asking about how many people on the webcast. It's on Zoom. It can be hundreds of people. We can go big.
Oh, intend to go big.
We go big. And you can email your questions in before, so I can kind of prepare and have them all organized, and we'll just, that's why they goes like 3 hours. We work. We get in there and just do work.
Yeah, it's powerful. I love feeling, it's like every time I get on with you, it's like my body's just like humming and activating and releasing and opening. It's just so much is going on. All of y'all who had your hand raised, who had typed your question into the webcast, next time we'll get into it, I promise. And thank you for coming on and sharing your energies as well. And Meg, phenomenal as always. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to join you, John. I love you. You're the best.
I love you too, as are you. And I love you guys. Thank you so much again for being on the call. And I look forward to seeing y'all on the next live call. Do your practices. Come in with a shower before you come on the BTO energetically. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.